everyone, I am Dr. Nisha Kumari, Assistant Professor of School of Business at Aditya University. So today we are going to discuss about the prototyping. By the end of this particular lecture, you will be able to understand the difference between low fidelity prototype and high fidelity prototype, and you will be able to develop the appropriate prototype based on the requirement of your stage, as well as where you will be able to understand which prototype is going to use at what stage. So as we discussed in the previous design thinking process, first stage is your empathize. After that it's come your define. After defining, we are going to ideate, where we are going to generate the ideas, and then come the prototype. So when we are talking about the empathize, here we are going to understand the users and their needs, their pain points or the challenges. After understanding that, we are going to redefine we reframe the problem statement, and after refining, we are going to generate the ideas to provide the solution for that particular identified problems. And once we are going to evaluate, or once we are going to validate the ideas, we will start working on it and we will start creating the prototypes. Now coming up to the low fidelity prototype. Here these are the simple, quick and inexpensive representations of your idea or your solution, whichever you are going to introduce for the particular problem. And these are kind of your rough sketches or the paper models. For example, during your school times, when teacher will ask you to create the village drawing. So what will be happening, there is a standard drawing which all the students used to make like this. This was the diagram usually the kids used to make. So this is kind of your low fidelity prototype when we talk about your these business ideas where the solutions you are creating. So low fidelity prototypes are the resemblance, or you can say the rough draft of your ideas, which is going to give you the direction which way you have to work on further. And these prototypes will be having very minimal details. For example, if you want to create some kind of software or the app. So here, for example, if we talk about nowadays everyone is using Instagram. So if we talk about someone is trying to create some kind of social media platform. So for example, here they kept 1 block, 2 block, and here they are going to keep the 4 blocks, and there will be some kind of screen. Okay. So here what is happening? We just kept the rough sketch of your prototype, how your app is going to look like, and not specifically mentioning which function we are going to place in these boxes. We are just mentioned then this app will look like in this kind of manner. These will be your some boxes and here, correct. And it is like fast to create and modify based on your creativity and the knowledge while we're discussing with our team members. This is just the starting first draft. Later part, when you're discussing with your team members, might be you get some kind of new idea. So you will create the new one. So here, for example, previously these functions are lower part. Here you place in the upper part, that it will be more feasible or something like that. And these functions will be here, and again your home page will be here. So based on the discussion with your team members or the need, we can create or modify easily or faster. And as we are just using the basic raw material, basic resources, just a pen and paper, it is very cost effective, and we are having at a very low risk also, because here we didn't put n number of resources and we didn't utilize the heavy resources and the heavy cost while creating these kind of prototypes. And when we use these kind of low prototype, first at the stage of ideation, because that time we are just having we are just generating the ideas. So those ideas, after some certain evaluation, we came up with for example, in starting we were having 30 ideas. After generation of the validation of the ideas, we came with the 15. Now with the 15 also we did some kind of filtration, and now we are having 5. So now for those 5s, we are creating some kind of different options. For example, option A will look like this, option B will look like this, and option C will look like this. So by doing this kind of rough sketching or the rough draft, it will be more easier that okay, our solution is going to work in so and so way. We are going to integrate these kind of functions in that particular solution, and it will look like this. Okay. Second one is your rapid prototyping. In detail, we'll discuss in the further class, but In short, rapid prototyping is kind of continuous process where we will continuously create some kind of cheaper version of your model or the service and will keep testing with the users. So in these kind of conditions, what happen, these low fidelity kind of prototype helps you to create the prototype of your ideas much faster at a cheaper cost. And the benefits of these low fidelity prototypes will be the cost effective. Why? Because we are using the minimal resources, and then it is iterative design, means it's a continuous process. We will keep modify, we will keep create some kind of new like information into that particular solution, and then but it comes with some kind of limitations also. First one is your limited detail. So as we mentioned, like your low fidelity prototype will be having some kind of basic structure or basic kind of rough draft or sketch only. So because of that, what is happening, we are just keeping the minimum details of your idea or your creativity. So because of that, again it is leading to your potential misinterpretation, because when we are providing half information or half knowledge, what happens, sometimes we are meaning something in a different, but people are understanding in a different way. So while we are creating these kind of rough drafts, what is happening, our thought process was altogether different to represent this idea in a manner, but while we shared with our team, it got altogether in a different manner. They perceive this idea into altogether different manner. So sometimes because of these kind of reason, because we are putting very limited details in these kind of prototypes, it is leading to the misinterpretation of your idea. Now coming to the high fidelity prototype. If you remember in colleges previously, like I just show you the picture, this thing where we are creating the chart, what your faculties are asking for you to prepare the village scenario, correct? But the same thing, if you has to prepare in for your exhibition or something, what will be happening, here you were going to use some kind of cardboard or thermocol. Here will be your rotating wheel, which is you are using to bring out the water from it, and you will attach some kind of small motor into that, correct? And same wise, here will be some kind of movable toys which are doing some kind of farming work. Here will be some kind of thermocol or POP mountains will be there. So now what is there, and here some artificial trees will be there. Now this particular model is the cheaper version of your idea with the more resources. So it will reassemble your idea into a more visible or virtual way. So while we talk about the high fidelity prototypes, it is the representation of your idea in a more enhanced virtual way, where we are using more resources, and because we are creating each and everything with the very small detail, it is very time consuming also. So when we talk about the high fidelity prototype, it is a advanced design and visuals of your idea or the solution you came up with. It is very interactive feature, is having interactive features. For example, if we talk about the app, for example, you are creating the app. So here, as we mentioned previously, we mentioned it like this, just your low fidelity prototype. Now if you are turning it to high fidelity, what will be happening, here we will create the icon. For example, it's for icon for the profile, and this icon is for your more information, and here it will be for your search part, it will be your home page, and it will be your other details likewise. And same here, in place of the home page, you will mention the, for example, some kind of course name and the module's name. So in this picture you created like this. So now this representation will be your high fidelity prototype. Okay, then it is closer to real user experience. How come? Because here first we are giving the as kind of similar representation of your outcome of your idea or the solution, as well as we are going to make it functionable also. The users can operate by using these functions, and by getting those kind of things, they will be able to get more experience. They will be able to relate it, they will be able to use it. So because of that, what is happening, we will be getting the real feedback from the consumers. As I mentioned, it is time consuming because we are going to integrate each and every function into that, as well as it will be required more resources because we are going to make the similar model which is your final output. And at what places we use and what stages we use these kind of prototypes. First thing is user testing. Like in your design thinking process, if you remember, I mentioned there are 5 steps. First one is your empathize. After that you are defining. After that you are going to ideate. After that you are going to create the prototype, and later part you are going to test. So in this testing part, what happens? The high fidelity prototypes we will be using to provide our users. These prototypes will be interacted by the users and they will use it, and based on their experience, they will going to give the feedback. What was their experience, if they faced any kind of barriers, if they are feeling some kind of complexity why they are using this particular product or the service, whatever we are offering as the solution. Okay. And then second one is your client presentation, where you are going to propose your idea in the form of the prototype to convince them to invest in your idea. Now, benefits based on the functions of the prototype which we are having is that we will get the realistic feedback because users are really using those prototypes and they are going to operate using those prototypes and they will get the real experience. So, based on their real experience, they are going to get the realistic feedback, and based on the prototype which we are proposing in front of the clients, we will get to approval from them. But along with these benefits, it comes with some kind of limitations also. First one is time consuming, because we are going to create kind of similar resemblance of your final output, or you can say the idea or the solution you came up with. And while we are doing this, we are utilizing n number of resources. Because of that, it is little costly also in comparison to your low fidelity prototype. As you can see more clearly in this particular picture, if you see your left side, see it's just a rough sketches which is been provided. So by this sketch, what we can identify, like how your app will look like in the future and what functions we want to put in this particular app. Okay, what are the places where we are going to place the different functions on this particular app. It's, you can say, just a simple representation of your idea or the solution. While we see here in the high fidelity prototype, we are mentioning each and every details name as well as it can function also. If you are clicking on any of the function, it is going to run, it is going to operate. So based on that, you will get the experience from the users, like what kind of experience they had while they were using our product. So while we talk about the low fidelity, means it's just a simple representation of your idea. While we talk about the high fidelity, it is more interactive and the virtual prototype of your idea. And the low fidelity prototypes are useful for generating or exploring the ideas and for validating the user flow and for the early brainstorming, as well as it's a very quick and inexpensive to create. While we talk about the high fidelity, it is for the visual testing, usability testing, and for presenting to the stakeholders. So when we talk about in summarized way, low fidelity is a cheaper, both are cheaper, but low fidelity is more cheaper than the high fidelity prototype, and it's just kind of sketch or the paper model of your idea. While we talk about the high fidelity, it's resemble your final product or your final idea which you want to propose. Thank you.